Stop paying off your mortgage early. This one I thought was kind of very odd for me. I've had multiple mortgages, only two houses, but the first house, I think I refinanced once or twice for different reasons. I've been in this house now, and I refinanced to a 15-year mortgage at one point. But even today, I actually have the extra payment going on. So every 2 weeks, a payment comes out. So at the end of the year, it's basically one extra payment, which is what a lot of people do. And we've been hearing for many years to pay it off. And again, there are a lot of valid reasons. But I wanted to look at the numbers, and so that's why I'm going to actually say today to stop paying it off if you have the discipline. So before we start this, let's watch a video on why to pay it off.
Goal number 7 before you hit 40, making extra mortgage payments. There are people who will tell you not to worry about paying mortgage early because it's, quote, cheap debt, aka money borrowed at a low interest rate. But the way I see it, a mortgage is like diarrhea. As soon as you get it, hopefully you want it gone ASAP.
You should have picked a different analogy.
And here's why. If you pay off your mortgage early, you can save thousands of dollars in interest payments, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So I like George, and he's absolutely right. I mean, paying it off is something that a lot of people like to do. You do save interest. And I wanted to point out a few positive things about paying off a mortgage before I go into really saying to stop doing it and proving that the numbers prove in some perspectives that you shouldn't be paying off your mortgage. I'd love to hear from everybody else. Do you agree paying off your mortgage is better or not? Have you always been taught that as well? What's your thoughts on it? So I wrote down a few things. One, on paying it off early. Yes, it's the interest savings. I mean, when we're going to actually look at some numbers on a mortgage and how much you actually can save just by doing one extra payment a year. And it's thousands of dollars depending on the size of your loan. And you do pay it off early, which can be a huge benefit. And that actually lends itself into my biggest second benefit of paying it off, that it is a weight of probably freedom for most people, that it's probably your largest payment every single month for 20, 30 years, whatever the number is. I'm going on 30 years, and between buying houses and refinancing, I still have another 10 more years. So after going through mortgages for almost 40 years, it is going to be a huge relief to actually pay it off. But the reason I'm going to actually today say stop paying it off more than anything is, again, I'm going to show the calculations that I think you actually come out better not paying it off, but instead investing that money. And that is the key. So if you don't have the discipline to invest, then probably paying off your mortgage is better. But the other reason, and the main reason I actually kind of like to stop paying it off and then invest that money, is while your house is great and it's probably beautiful and you've made it part of your life, it's an asset that's stuck in the house, and you actually have no value in a lot of ways. You could borrow a loan from it, but then now you're paying back more money. I'd rather actually have cash in the bank or investments that are worth thousands of dollars, and we're going to prove that it's actually a better value to save and invest versus paying it off early. So let's dive right in and actually look at those metrics. I'm going to minimize this right here. And again, I'm going to use Dinkytown. They have a lot of different calculators. Again, I will put the link down in the description, and you can kind of look at this as well. So I brought up their mortgage calculator. This time, I'm not going to factor in a lot of the other things around taxes and stuff like that and maintenance costs, but really just the basic mortgage. I'm going to use a $350,000 loan. And again, I know George probably, when he was talking, I can't remember if he actually said 15-year loans is the way to go, which is what Dave Ramsey typically preaches. But that's not what the majority of people get. The majority of people get 30-year mortgages. So I did do a 30-year mortgage. I did a 5% interest rate. I kind of went almost in between what some people might have had many years ago versus what people are getting today. I understand rates today are closer to the 7%. So I wanted to put it right in the middle in some perspective. So 5%. And you see here, here's what your mortgage payment is, $1,878. And if we come down here, you can actually see the breakdown. So if you have a 30-year mortgage, here's what the principal is, that 350,000. You can actually see the total interest, 326,000. Actually, a lot of people say yes, buy a house and it's 350 and it's paid off, and they see this new appreciation. They don't actually realize when you add in all the payments plus the interest, it's probably closer to almost double the price that you actually paid for. And this kind of shows that if you made one extra payment, let me open this up for a second. So yearly, you made one extra payment. You do save $61,000 in interest, and you actually complete it in just over 25 years. So this graph here, so again, you can come out to this tool and actually use this graph and actually show what would happen if you made a payment and how often and stuff like that. But in this scenario, we're saying that yes, if you had one extra payment a year, you'd get it done practically 5 years earlier, and you are free and clear. And again, George, I should say, in his video talks about paying it off early and then investing the money. And I kind of wanted to throw that out there. Well, is that a smart idea or not? And again, paying it off early is a great value. I mean, again, you're going to feel a lot of confidence, and you won't have that weight of a mortgage payment over your head. But is it really the smartest choice that you can make with your money? And I'm going to, again, say no, and we're going to drive into this. So again, it's 5 years early. You're going to save $61,000 in interest. That alone is a huge win if you want to go that direction. But let's take a look at then what would you have done if you had just continued paying it off, did the 30 years. So it's 30 years, you're going to pay that extra $61,000 in interest. But what if you had taken that one extra payment and invested it instead? And this is what I came up with, right? So again, I'm using Dinkystown tools, their compounding saving calculator. So if you start off with zero money, and for 30 years, again, I use the 8% return. That is what I like to use. I'm going to take that one payment that we talked about once per year. Okay, so we're not actually adding it any extra money. It's compounded annually. The reason I did compounding annually is I looked at their documentation here, and it says for stocks and mutual investments, choose annual. So I'm using their tools here that says, yes, if you invested that one extra payment at the beginning of the calendar year, and for 30 years, this says that you would have a little under $230,000 in cash. So yes, looking back, if you were buying that house, yes, you're going to have that mortgage for the full 30 years. But at the same time, you're investing that one extra payment in a brokerage account that's making about 8%, or making 8% a year over 30 years. You're going to have the house paid off, plus you're going to have almost $230,000 in the bank. And again, it is kind of interesting, and this is where it takes a lot of time and effort to kind of like look into the graphs and stuff like that. But you can see really at the end of that first year, you barely have over $2,000. At the end of 10 years of doing this, you have about $30,000. But really, again, from that compounding interest, so after 20 years, you have almost 100,000. You have 92,000, and then at the end of 30, you have almost $230,000. Now, again, let's look at George's comment. And he said, no, pay it off as soon as possible and then invest that money. So I did that calculation as well. So let's say you use George's, right? Pay it off in 5 extra years and take that whole 1878 and invest it. What would you have that? So I pulled that up here, and I have that same kind of calculator here. This is the same one. This is the compounding saving calculator. So in this scenario, I'm going to say, yes, you paid one extra payment for 25 years. So now you have 5 full years of saving that extra payment. So again, same situation. You have zero money. You're going to save for 5 years. You're going to make that 8% return. You're going to take that payment, that $1,878, and you're going to invest that every single month. So you have 12 months that you're going to invest that. And then again, you're compounding annually because you're investing it in the market. And you can see here that at the end of that 5 years, you have about $138,000. So that is a huge difference from the $230,000. So again, I'm actually, I'm not trying to say that, this is what I was doing. I actually set up the biweekly payments. I'm paying that one extra payment. But when I just actually did the calculations, it came back and it said I should stop. Now at this point, I got 10 more years, and am I going to do the paperwork? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But if you're starting out and you're buying your first house and stuff like that, run the numbers. It might actually prove that maybe you don't want to actually do that extra payment. But again, the key of it here is obviously that you are putting that money aside, saving and investing. And I will say, again, the key is not to go through a couple of years and then pull it out and take a vacation. This calculation that I'm trying to pull up and prove is it takes time and discipline. But again, at the end of 30 years, if you had your house paid off and you had $229,000 in the bank, instead of doing that one extra payment and paying it off in 25, I think this actually is a better option, because again, I'd rather have the money in the bank. Even at the end of 25 years, this has you have $148,000. So having $150,000 in the bank at the end of 25 years, and you still have 5 more years on your mortgage, I'd rather have the money in the bank. Again, it's just, again, my preference. Run the numbers yourself. I will leave the links down below. Let me know what you think. Do you still believe that you should pay the extra payment, get out of that mortgage payment as quick as possible? Or should you be taking that one extra payment and investing it, and hopefully at the end of your mortgage cycle, you actually have more money in the bank than you would otherwise? So hopefully you found this interesting. Again, this is the first time I kind of did the calculation myself and kind of proved out that I should have been investing that money all along. And I hope you find this interesting as well. Thank you.